we're back on the 01 3500 Ppump 24 valve Cummins 6-speed for a customer, and we have the push rod cover off. We're replacing that gaskets due to leaks. We're also replacing the lift pump gasket due to leaks there. And the main issue with this truck was the Ppump P7100 gear was spinning on the shaft, and the cam gear thrust plate was loose. As you can see, the bolt just moving there. That whole thrust plate was just loose there. The bolt was rubbing on the back of the camshaft. Yeah, not too good there. Anyhow, we have went through here and done all of our valve lash. There's plenty of videos for valve lash. I get a chance here, I'll take a picture of the valve lash procedure on the 6-cylinder and put it up here. And yep, so we ran through that. We found a bunch of loose bolts, just loose ends not done properly. We went through and made sure all of our head bolts were torqued. Rocker assembly bolts were torqued. Injector bolts were torqued. All that good stuff. Check the case cover with the case bolts. Just everything on this truck, because I've seen quite a few issues with this truck. But we have dove into this, and we're going to come back at you here. I'm going to get ready to put this back on. It's just 6 bolts. It's pretty simple once you get the pump and everything out of the way. 24 valve VP is pretty much the same thing, or Ppump, same thing as a 12 valve. So we'll come back at you here in a minute. All right, come back at you here. Got quite a bit of stuff done. Figured it'd be time for an update. So with this particular truck, I've got the tappet cover back on, new seal installed on that. As you see down there, it's hard to tell. The computer, which I believe that's the ECU, if I'm not mistaken. I have messed with many of these 24 valve VP trucks. Mainly messed with common rails, 6.7s, old 12 valve 6BTs, and your PCM is over there. So this truck has been swapped over to a mechanical P7100 pump, and has been identified as a 175 horse. It's like an 841, I believe. But anyhow, I was gonna go over this real quick. Pretty much got all this stuff done. So you got 4 15mm socket head bolts here. That's the size socket you use. The 2 down in here are a butt. I mean, they are a pain if you don't know what you're doing. So what you got here, see down here, I believe. Okay. So you see those 2 nuts over there. Light for the wind. Those 2 guys down there, you see a tappet cover bolt right there, my light's at. But those 2 guys right there, they are a ass to get in. So what you do here is you take you a bendy magnet, or you can take you just a regular one like that fellow over there, and you hold the edge. These are all flange nuts, so they got a little flange on them, like a little washer built into them. You hold the edge of it, put it down here where you can get to it. This top one you can actually get with a extremely long extension that goes all the way back there, and a ratchet, and pop the top one in. Top one's pretty easy. The bottom one's a butt. So what you have to do, you have to fish this guy down in here with the nut, put it right on the edge of that stud, and you have to get your hands up from the bottom here and come in like so, and you have to kind of just fill in there and roll that nut into place. It also helps if you push the nut with the magnet. So, that being said, we're ready to put the gear on. This particular pump here has a little, I guess you call it, cap head nut here. Take this off. This is your inspection nut, or whatever you want to call it. And inside would be a plastic piece. There should be a little flag that's like pointing out at you. It's like, it looks kind of like that, and it's got a space inside the middle. What you want to do is I have a special tool that goes on the end of here when you got the pump off. You get them on eBay or wherever, but it will allow you to turn this pump without the nut on it, obviously, but you thread it on, and you can turn it over to where it's in time. You can also do it while it's on the engine and pump gear is on, and it will come down, and it'll be a little flat spade that moves on the rotating assembly in there. And that little plastic piece, you take it out, flip it around, you slide it up on there only when you're done spinning. Do not spin it while that plastic piece is turned around the wrong way, because you will break it off in the pump. You'll have to send the pump to a pump shop. Bad day. And long story short here, we have to, basically what you have to do, you have to look for that little spade to come down on that rotating assembly. That's my stool down there. And then when it gets into the sight view here, you know you're in time. So once that's in good, I don't even use that flag, to be honest with you. I just look at it. I know it's in time, because this thing, it cams. I mean, it takes some arm strength to turn this thing around. And once it's in time, it'll hold there, and then you can just pop that piece of plastic back in with the metal tip in. Do not put it on back in the other way. You will be at the pump shop, I guarantee it, or on the side of the road getting ready to be towed to a shop, and then your pump's going to go to a pump shop. So metal tab back in, tighten this back up. I believe that's like a 24. Tighten all these up, put it back on, you're good to go. So trying to give you a little advice here as I'm just showing you what I'm doing here. We're getting ready to clean the hell out of the shaft, because these are not a keyed shaft. Even though it has a placement for a key, the factory gear does not. Luckily for this guy, we bought one that has a Woodruff key slot in it, as you can see there. So updated gear is what I call it. It's a lot better, because on these pumps, obviously with the VE pump, the engine oil rolls down through here and stuff, but with this pump, you're getting oil pumped in through here, and it's pushing it out through here. So right up against the shaft, right up against where all your gear and stuff's mating, so it's very prone to slip, and that's what this one was doing. As you can see, it's scarred up pretty bad. I've cleaned it up. Probably gonna run some emery cloth over it, maybe. It doesn't, I mean, it's got some spots on it, but we'll probably run a little emery cloth on it, clean it up, and it should be good to go. But we'll put this back together. I gotta find a place for that ECU to mount, because it's not gonna fit behind this P-pump. Pretty sure there is a kit to remount that somewhere, have a nice pretty bracket, but this is a farm truck. He did not, he really wants to get this thing back done, because he needs it. So we're gonna probably make a little bracket and get that going. So all right, well, we'll get back to you when we get some more stuff done. Appreciate it. See y'all. All right, back at you again. So the best way to get these tight, take you a couple of extensions here and a swivel at the end. This will get you to the bottom. You've got to come from in here like this and manipulate it to let it fall onto there, unless you have a nicer impact style swivel. And you can tighten up the bottom nut on the inside from there. You can also do this one with that as well. So that's how you tighten those two inner nuts up. the outsides you can get with a regular wrench. Don't forget to put your oil feed line back on, and then we're going to get into the throttle linkage and all that good stuff, AFC housing, all that stuff, put all this stuff back together. So, all right, come back at you in a minute. All right, coming back to you, probably the last one for this video here. We have got our KDP successfully installed. So if you're wondering if a 24 valve VP truck has a KDP, there you go. It has a KDP. So get everything in time. As you can see, there's a B and a 0 right there. It's in time. Gotta do a torque on that. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow morning. And one of my associates is going to be here, and I'll get him to help me hold this engine while I torque it down. So we got a good ways this evening. Got all the pump back on, all the throttle linkage, fuel pressure gauge. Did a bunch of AFC modifications. I'll go into depth about that here in a second. Lines back on, 1 through 5 I left loose on the pump, so that way you can bleed the air out of the system. Once you get fuel squirting out of here, you tighten these up and it'll fire right up. So yeah, coming along pretty good. So right now I'm waiting on, I've got to get, this is your spacer. When you do this P-pump conversion, this is a spacer block that goes in there. Personally, me, this is Virginia. I don't run grid heaters on any of my trucks. If it gets down into teens, single digits, I'll plug the block heater in. That pretty much goes for anything close to freezing. I just throw the block heater on the night before, where it's the heater's warm when I get in the truck in the morning. But yeah, so that intake horn's got to go back on, which is that. And then piping and all this good jazz up here in the front. Like I said, I'm waiting till tomorrow to do that. But on this AFC housing here, I go into depth a little bit on this. So what I like to do on this AFC housing here, if you want max fuel craziness, look the video up on YouTube. There's like freaking 40 of them. I mean, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You can put a rack cap in here. I've done that on a couple of my other personal stuff, because I put AFC live on all of my trucks, even the VE trucks, which that's something nobody I think's done before, is put AFC live on a VE truck, but it works. So anyhow, for this particular truck, this is a farm truck. He wants a little bit of power, but he wants it to be economical. So what I did here was slide the AFC housing all the way to the back, and did the fender washer conversion in there, turned her smoke screw all the way out, and turned her tension on the spring out to max tension. So that's where it takes max boost pressure for this system to actually move and give the pump, tell the pump, hey, I need full fuel to give to the engine. So yeah, long story short, I've got to route that line over to the engine because it was not there, so we'll get that routed. And as far as the fuel shutoff solenoid here, we're not going to run a fuel shutoff solenoid on this truck, just because basically, financial reasons, I guess. It's a lot cheaper for him just to run a choke cable, run it into the dash, pull it like an old B model Mac or something, cut it off. It's simple, it's works, and you ain't got to worry about this crappy, I hate these solenoids. They burn up like every freaking year. Now it don't matter if you buy Larry B's, whatever, and it don't matter if you buy a $24 Chinese one straight from wherever in China, they're going to burn up. It's just it's a thing about a coil, a solenoid, it's going to burn up. It's an electrical component. So long story short, everything's back together. everything on this engine is in good shape. We're gonna have to figure out a bracket situation for that computer. But yeah, everything's coming along good. And hopefully tomorrow we'll hear this old girl run for the first time. So, cool. See y'all later on the next one.